More than 160,000 Ukrainian refugees have come to the UK since Russia invaded their country.
I'm just trying to move on. I'm just trying simply to survive.
For many, their time staying with British families is running out.
For all of us, we don't want to go on like this forever.
Thousands have already turned to local councils for somewhere to live, at risk of becoming homeless.
We need compassionate landlords.
A rapidly increasing number of Ukrainians living in Britain are struggling to find a place to call home. It's a cold day in early February, and 9 months after arriving in the UK, Ukrainian refugee Anfisa Vlasova is searching for somewhere to spend the night.
Whenever I call to letting agency and I keep asking about any property to view, then I face so many difficult problems.
As we film, a call comes in. You can take it if you want.
Hello? Yeah.
But there's more disappointment.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's okay. Yeah, take care. Bye.
Who is that?
That's one more organization supposed to help with finding shelter for this night, but they're not able.
We're in Bracknell in Berkshire, and Anfisa has to leave the bed and breakfast where she's been for the last 10 days because it's fully booked from tonight for months.
Well, anyway, just keep in touch, and if I can help, let me know.
Yeah, thank you.
And there's an added reason why Anfisa is struggling to find a roof over her head. She needs somewhere pet-friendly that will take her beloved mini Yorkshire Terriers, Betsy, Teddy, Nora and Daisy, which she brought with her from Ukraine.
They are emotional support dogs for me. They mean everything. They mean word for me. Because I already lost everything because of this war.
Anfisa was originally sponsored to come to the UK for 6 months on the Homes for Ukraine scheme. When that ended, she was offered another placement with an elderly man who she says expected her to be his carer and companion. She stayed in 4 different places, but is finding it hard to move to the private rental market.
We've got a little bit of room in the back of the car there.
By now it's mid-afternoon, and local councillor Jenny Green, a fellow dog lover, has arrived to help. Before today, Anfisa was offered accommodation by the council for her and her pets, which she says was unsuitable, and turned it down. In one case, she says it was a room with a family who've got a cat. Now, Anfisa is homeless and requires emergency housing for the night, which comes with conditions. Jenny takes Anfisa to the housing department at the local council offices, hoping to find an 11th hour resolution.
There is a solution on the table. She can be separated for a short period and go into bed and breakfast without her dogs, and the dogs can be looked after in kennels while that goes on.
But having brought her pets thousands of miles from a war zone, it isn't an offer Anfisa will contemplate. Then, as night falls, unexpected help comes from others who are also at the council looking for accommodation.
I'm homeless, I'm staying in the woods. The other night it was freezing cold.
I've gone, I'm not proud of this, but 4 or 5 days without being able to sort of wash myself properly. I'm trying to keep myself presentable, just using sort of disabled toilets, etc.
And where do you think you'll spend the night tonight?
A bit at a church.
The group forms an unusual procession as Anfisa, who used to work in Ukraine promoting cosmetics, and her new friends from Bracknell's homeless community make their way to a nearby church. Anfisa was displaced first from Donetsk in 2014, then she fled from Kharkiv as it was being shelled last year. Now, just like those who've brought her here, Anfisa is living hand to mouth. She is one of a rapidly rising number of Ukrainian refugees turning to local councils for accommodation. But tonight she'll be sleeping in the house of God.
Jesus always gives shelter to those who in need.
To be frank, I'm so tired and exhausted because all day just running, calling, searching. So at least I got a roof and it's warm, and I got a meal. Yeah, and my dog's with me.
Available data analysed by Sky News shows well over 4,000 Ukrainian refugees and their families in the UK are needing somewhere to live after their placements on the Homes for Ukraine scheme ended. The actual number could be even higher. Whilst Anfisa's situation is unusual, her determination to stay with her pets leaves her still in need of a long-term housing solution. In nearby Reading, at a drop-in event for refugees and asylum seekers, there's a chance to share problems and learn English.
And how many days you spent in the boat?
5 weeks. Because we were both teachers.
But it becomes clear amongst the Ukrainian community their main concern is housing. The Homes for Ukraine scheme asked British hosts to take refugees for a minimum of 6 months. Like many Ukrainians around the country, for these women, their host arrangements are coming to an end and they're turning to local councils. At 60 years old, Armina was a German teacher in Donetsk. Now she's on universal credit and hasn't been able to find work or a rental property. Thankfully, a second British family have taken her in. But her experience doesn't give other Ukrainian refugees much hope.
We are very scared when we look for the new sponsors. Very scared and very. No, we have we panic. We panicked and very scared. Very.
And now?
And now I am very happy. I am very, very happy.
Coordinator Tatiana says without a UK credit history and often no salary, some refugees are getting rejected by private landlords who can pick and choose their tenants.
Half of them at least already in a month or 2 month situation before they need to find next accommodation, which is rather difficult. So the main message is we need compassionate landlords and we need local authorities to work with state agents to accommodate that.
So what you're saying is some landlords don't want Ukrainians?
Some of them, I'm not saying all. We're working with some private landlords. They openly helping and they want to help Ukrainian families. Some landlords are completely not really accommodating anything.
The seasons have come and gone and the war in Ukraine has been raging for a year. Until a year ago, former history teacher Katerina Kornienko led a normal life. Now she's on the phone to her husband back in Odessa, working as a teaching assistant in Berkshire and living with sponsors with her children on the Homes for Ukraine scheme.
This is our space, mine, my kids.
They have their own space, own bathroom, living room and bedrooms. But even after such a successful placement, their need to move on explains why so many Ukrainians are turning to the rental market and local councils for support.
It's a very good place for us, but it's not our house, you know. It's not our property, so I every time remember that I'm just a guest here and I should be polite. I want to keep their life the same what it was before.
But the difficulties of renting for Ukrainian refugees means Katerina's host Fiona is not just helping her find a property, she's also willing to stand as a financial guarantor.
I think for all of us, we don't want to go on like this forever, but for us, it's more, what does Kate want? So my understanding is that what Kate wants is as normal a family life as she can have. And so for her, that means living independently.
Still in search of a place to call home, a few weeks later we go back to meet Anfisa Vlasova and her mini Yorkshire Terriers.
So that's our tent, And this is you and one of the homeless people sharing a tent.
After spending a night in a church, Anfisa says for a couple of days she then slept rough in a summer tent in winter in freezing conditions, rejecting the council's offer of a hotel because she couldn't take her dogs.
I got a flu because even we were trying to be protected with blankets and duvets and give warm to each other, but it didn't help me much because of the minus temperature at night, so I got flu.
Anfisa is now temporarily staying with a friend of a friend, but her experience has even made her think twice about leaving a war zone.
I just want to hide, under my blanket, just imagine, to close my eyes, imagining I'm at home, on my bed, in my flat, and I'm just hiding under the blanket at the place which is, I feel it's like my own space. Since I came here, I had a 6 months quite peaceful life in my host family. I'm really very appreciative to those people, but later on it's a nightmare.